Peace, family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I want to do is I want to talk to my chosen ones about how as you raise your frequency and level up, your tests will become more challenging. Your obstacles will become a little bit more difficult. And for me, throughout my life, experience and knowledge and just kind of putting everything together to where I'm at today, I realize for most of us, I know society is changing outside of us as well too, but for most of us, our first real big obstacle and test that we had to take on and face was our family. These are the ones that you born with, born around, you was raised in, we can call it a family, you can call it a small community, smaller tribe, whatever word suits you. If you ever talk to anybody on their spiritual journey, it's just raising their frequency above this Western society frequency and get more connected with Source. Almost everyone starts off with they had some kind of realization with their family. If they didn't have siblings, they had a realization with their parents, with their cousins, or with their grandparents. If they did have siblings, those siblings would be in the mix as well too. But just about almost all of us getting to this space had to go through our family, which is a big one. That's why it's almost like the immediate one that we all kind of become awakened and aware to almost immediately once we start getting to a certain point and chapter in our journey. The second one that we all experience is dealing with the same sex. So as you already know, through elementary, middle school, high school, a lot of girls would say, oh, other girls are catty, or some females say they don't like females or get along with females. Guys, we were always in a challenging position because we're always in competition. So when males and males hang out, it's always, when we're vibing on those vibrations we used to vibe on, For the vibrations that we on now, it's not the same process. It's kind of like when you was a baby versus a dog. You wore diapers then, you don't wear diapers now, Men, we had always been more challenging, so just finding pairs that you can conversate and build with, vent in and out or circulatory, it's always been a process. So you got family, which is huge. Then you got same sex, which is huge. Once we got through the same sex, meaning men learning, okay, well, you can't trust all men, all men aren't your friends, some of them have bad intentions for you, some of them have good intentions for you. That was our next big test that we were facing. Once we all got past that hump, now we're at this space because we're all of a certain age and at a certain frequency. It's all being transmuted into and transferred into the opposite sex now. Because most of us are naturally supposed to be already having families, already be inside of communities, building. We're not. So we have this other test that has been, it's been like a SOL, you know what I mean? Like we all know we're gonna have to take it eventually, but once that test gets in front of you, you're just sitting there just looking at it like, I don't know that answer, I don't know that answer, I don't know that answer. What I used to do on some of my SOL tests, I would literally just go on each answer on the way down. If I didn't want to take the test, I didn't want to put time in, I would go A, B, C, D, E, F, or A, B, C, D, E, and then I would zigzag it back and forth just to make a little design because I just like to be fun with it. It was either that or scratch the test out or give it back, you know what I mean? But as far as correlating that, getting to the space where we at today, a lot of us are fighting our natural state that we are supposed to be in, which is, for one, I use the example of prison. When you get in trouble, they put you in a hole Matter of fact, when you go to timeout, you go to a corner by yourself. All of these things are to isolate us because we're naturally supposed to be in a community with a tribe. We naturally vibe with other beings. So understanding these things, you have to understand that those are forms of punishment to how we should be vibrating and living. That's why they're used as a form of disciplinary. But getting to the space where we at today and having to face a lot of these challenges, you know, a lot of these tests. What I realized with these tests is not only that they get harder as you level up, new levels, new devils, you know, as the saying goes. They also become more rapid and you're getting more at one time. So it's kind of like every day is the end of the school year. You know, at the end of the school year, you're taking tests all day basically. You got to test at this school, you got to test at that school. That class. Everywhere, every classroom you go into, you're going to be doing some kind of long testing, whether it's 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes, but they run consecutive. So if you aren't recharging yourself in the middle of the process, if you aren't doing slight study ups before you get to the next one or asking questions, just even if you was prepared for the second or third test, you're still low on energy. So you still have to kind of push through that process in order to knock that part of the test out the way. For me, reaching these new vibrations and frequencies, you know, awareness is being constantly raised. The challenge, what I see and what I experience is beings and places, you know, it's almost like certain vibrations are going out their way to test my spirit and my vibration, or to test your spirit and your vibrations. And for some of these tests, it's like you don't have to sit down and go take that test. You don't have to go into that classroom. You don't have to go into that office space. But for a lot of us over here, we wouldn't made it to the space and, you know, this frequency that we get to vibe on if we hadn't accepted some of those tests and challenges. For me, I love engaging with people. I've always been a people's person. I got a lot of siblings here, siblings there. What's crazy is even when I was younger, I could say 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, all the way up, I knew where one of my biggest tests would be at. My mom got 4 kids. We all got different daddies. My dad it's 5 of us alive. My younger brother, he had a twin. She didn't make it through birth. So it's 5 of us. All 5 of us got different mamas. So genetically and subconsciously, spiritually, meaning that I already understood that the opposite sex was going to be a challenge for me. What happens with some of these things is, and as I'm saying that, it just makes me process like what they call generational curses. So we can call that a generational curse, but for me, because I work so hard at breaking these things, I call them tests. Words are spells and spells are real. I seen somebody put that in a comment towards me for me saying something about jobs or whatever. But clearly you new to the channel, so salute to everybody that's been following, know what time it is. I only call jobs a plantation if that's not your business. If it's your business, that's a way of life, that's building. That I wouldn't call, if I went and just opened up my own business right here, I wouldn't call that a job. I wouldn't call it a plantation because I will be working and building on that every single day. So for me, when I have to experience or see those kind of things right there, it's always pretty challenging to a degree, because it just reminds me of how low the vibrations are in Western society for people not to comprehend or go back and do their research to understand the teacher. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when I used to watch and listen to Dr. Sebi. When I listened to Dr. Sebi, when I listened to him, I always made sure that I went backwards. You always have to go backwards to tap in on a person's character. If you're not tapping in and seeing what they're actually bringing to the table, then if you just bringing it, I am actually in front of a camera. Yeah, this is a camera right here. Sorry about that. Y'all know when I'm out here in public, it be all kind of weird engagements going on. This is what I mean by low vibrations. How do you not see this camera tripod right here? But like I'm saying, test. The old me probably would have been a little bit more aggressive towards them, because they literally just walked almost a whole football field towards me and didn't realize this damn tripod and gonna ask me, am I talking to them? This is what the universe does. It wants to see how much you've grown in certain places and spaces. For me, I've always been a firecracker. You know, I'm always the spark. I'm always the starter. You know, even when we was little and we was running around jumping creeks, the biggest creek, is like, all right, I'm gonna go first to show everybody that I could do it. Watch this. Then once I do it, everybody knows that it can be done. So then they all start being ready to jump the creeks. Now, everybody don't always make the creek jump. You know, I done had a buddy jump before across the creek, and he did not make it. When I say he did not make it, he fell short, landed on the ledge of the creek, and he broke his arm. We know it's all dirt and stuff, but it was the way he had landed. On a lower level, he definitely did not pass the test, you know what I mean? But on the higher vibration, he definitely passed the test. But that was a prime example of what I mean by as you are leveling up. Anybody that's been tapped in with me for a while now understands that, all right, when he first started, these distractions used to be a little trickier for me, and they used to be a little difficult. I used to find myself getting a little bit more frustrated, because I'm like, damn, how dumb can you be? I'm just, it makes my brain do that snow. If you ever had a snow globe, you know when you just shake it up and then everything just starts falling down? That's what it feels like when I run into such low vibrational beings, or they run into me. This park is huge. They could have went anywhere. Are you talking to me? No, clearly I was talking before you came this way. You was walking past the camera, raising your voice, so I picked up my tempo so I can stay, you know, in alignment with what I was saying. This is what I mean by the test. For me, that was light work. The old me probably would have got a little bit more ramped up. I would have handled it properly, but now when I have to experience these things, it doesn't ramp me up, and the inside doesn't get my energy going all crazy, wanting to be super responsive to them on the inside, because I understand they are extremely low vibrating. You have something right in your face and it's still non-visible to you. Or my light was just shining so bright, it just blocked everything out that's standing right here in front of me. Mind blowing. All of these tests will, like I said, they will be run consecutively, back to back to back to back to back. When we first start off running into these tests, it's usually like once every quarter, you know what I mean? Then you might have one, as you move up in grades, you start raising your levels and vibrations, you realize, all right, I'm getting tested once a week now. You move from once a week tests to obstacles, meaning that, all right, you done already got your family out the way. You know, you beat that level. You beat the same sex level, boom, you passed that one, you know. Everybody is struggling right now with the opposite sex. I don't give a damn what nobody say. I seen someone say that I was doing myself a disservice by speaking about women in a certain way, or I don't actually remember the statement that I said, but I just remember seeing that I was doing myself a discernment for putting women in a certain box or category, when anybody that's been tapped into me know I don't do all. Everything is on a percentage scale. So for me, I don't have to delete comments like that or remove them or get too offended, because motherfucker, I've been the black sheep and going against the grain my whole life. Why the fuck would I care? Why would I care? You wouldn't even know who the fuck I was if that was something that I was focused on. Oh, let me make sure that they don't perceive me this way. Let me make sure they don't perceive me that way. Like, I don't give a fuck. It doesn't make a difference to me. I don't move demonically. I am much more present in my daughter's life. Some shit I know I just gotta miss out on. If I don't have awesome women coming in my life, oh fucking well, I missed out. It wouldn't be no different if I got my leg cut off. So the world doesn't end for me. I know that if I got my leg cut off, my daughter got 2 legs, I'll make sure she got both of hers. It's that simple. You know, everybody feels like they have to be the remedy or the recipe. And it's like, nah. Sometimes you just fucking miss out. Like, that is extremely difficult for a lot of these beings. Even when some of these beings in this space that's trying to raise their vibration, they don't like the fact that you can miss out. You have to miss out. I didn't get to do a lot of shit because of the way I was born into this realm. When I was a baby, I got neglected so much that my mom had one of the few stories she did tell me about when I was little was that every day at 3 o'clock I would cry for an hour. You know why? Because I wasn't getting no fucking attention. My mom had me young, along when she had my sister young. You know, I think she had me when she was 20. I don't want to say young, but she had me when she was at that age, but she was young spiritually. You know, the body say you ready at 13, not saying you should, but your body, the creator designed us all a certain way for a specific reason. For a specific reason. So, she had my sister when she was like 16, 17, so. And what's crazy is, they mentioned that, I have this thing where I speak in women or about women a certain way, right? But if you watched half of my content, even a portion of it, or even backed up some, when I first started out, it was mostly family that I was discussing. And it all just recently was transitioning. It's only but so much reiterating I can do about family. I'm still engaging with opposite sex and same sex out here on a day-to-day basis. I'm not involved with my family that much anymore. That was the whole purpose of passing that test. And a lot of people just, it's so hard for them to take in the reality that you're going to get tested. Life becomes more challenging. There's going to be way more obstacles in the way, especially if you are brown out here in today's society. I know a lot of people make it seem like shit is non-existent. Oh, you can do this, you can do that. You can, only if you are a really good listener to the system. I could be out here making millions of dollars if I decided to shake my ass and be a coon. I'm not like that, so you won't catch me out here doing that. So if I gotta take critiques and criticism for not making dance videos, you know, for not cooning in front of the camera, I don't play music, it's literally just me straight here, knowledge, information, and my experiences. I haven't ran into any or too many people that actually even put their life out there on YouTube. Most people usually say, oh, that part is private, this part is private, or I don't want to discuss that. Or even if they talk about it, it's like they speak about a subject like clouds. Like they don't even want to kind of make it a little bit relatable. You know, they don't even want to put a piece of themselves out there. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? People been judging me my whole life. I judge people. It don't make a difference to me. You know what I mean? Because I know how I stand as a solid being from within. I know what team I ride with. I know that we have warriors over here. It's not a bunch of soft-spoken, weak-ass men over here. I don't know where people get this ideology from. That's why if you notice, most beings, once they use religion to connect them to source, or the ones who just are connected with source due their own engagements, you know, their one-on-ones with Source, they don't swing that other way. You know that it's always a whole bunch of love, but there's always that, I wish somebody would try me. I wish somebody would try my family. I wish somebody would try my tribe. Be mind-blowing out here, like, people process it sometimes, like, and even with some of this stuff, like, you can always go back and examine it. Once you fail a test, I'm not gonna say the SOLs because they don't give you them back. They just give you a score and they keep it, you know, and you just got to keep that score in mind and hope to do better. But most people don't. Some people don't care about it. There's a lot of people going through indoctrination and they do care about the SOLs, you know what I mean? But for the most part, when you backtrack on a test, meaning go backwards into your past dealing with old friends, spouses, people that you used to engage with, you usually just picking that test paper up and you're like, damn, I did get an X on number 5. I wonder why I got this X right here. And then you start looking at how you solved the problem or how you decided to answer the question. And then you figure out, okay, this is what I did wrong on that one. Damn, so I got to make sure that when they flip the question, because they're going to re-ask it just in a different way on the next test, or the equation, they're going to give it to you the same way, but it's going to be different numbers. You're going to know how to go about it a lot easier, and you'll get it right the next time. With that being said, we already understand once you go back there, you know, there's no takebacks for the test that you already turned in. All the people that you engaged with, you know, relationships that went up and down, your role you played, my role that I played, their roles that they played, there is no takebacks. There is no takebacks. Some people feel like they're honest until they run into somebody who's extremely honest. And then they understand that they have been holding back from actually being as honest as they can be. You know what I mean? It hasn't always been this kind of communication engagement because I haven't always been moving around for me to get tested this kind of way. You know, it ramped up once I stepped into that classroom and said, yeah, I'm about to take this test. You know what I mean? That's basically me getting pushed out here doing the Godcast. I was behind the camera when I got it first, and then I ended up in front of the camera, and then I got pushed solo. It was literally like the creator and universe was like, nah, these tests was too easy for you. I'm gonna put you in front of these people right here. I'm gonna make you have to take all these tests with the court. I'm gonna put a bunch of low vibrational beings and keep sporadically popping them up. See how you manage and master your energy, because I'm going to need you for bigger and better things. So I need you to make sure that you tighten up on the inside. Most people aren't going to be around for a lot of your tests, you know? So you just got to stand solid in it. That's why I don't believe in like explaining myself to low vibrational beings or people who just don't know how to process properly. They don't know how to process properly. You know what I mean? Like, how many guys have you seen up here doing what I do, or have their daughters or their sons in the same field, or at least trying to help them so that way they can help the ones beside them? They don't. It's a million kabillion people out here, and it's very rare that you would see that. But then because some people thought that they were honest and realized they aren't as honest as they are, and then when you're growing, it hurts to grow. They go hand in hand. You have to experience some pain and growth. You know what I mean? So I already understand. I strike a chord when I communicate and engage with people. It is what it is. You know, we're in the middle of a battlefield. So if you're too weak, you got to go dip off somewhere else. You got to go to another channel. You got to go to another tribe. You know what I mean? But over here, we know what's happening and what's going on. So this is supposed to be the whole purpose of raising your vibration and frequency. But instead of people processing this way, they're trying to figure out, oh, where can I pin pull a hole at over there? You know what I mean? Like, I can see that there's being work put in on the next generation. You ain't doing shit for yours. But then let me figure out ways to pinpoint holes over here. And for me, it's just like, it's a test. It's a test. Nobody sees how you get riled up on the inside. You could be talking completely normal and nobody sees your energy and motion just going crazy, either crazy with anxiety, crazy with fear, it could be going crazy with passion, you know, it could be going crazy with anger. The Creator gave us this anger to experience, but people feel like, oh, if you experience that it's an issue. Like, no, it's not an issue. I had someone recently tapped into my channel, right? And they reached out via Instagram. They don't have no following, no audience or anything, but they was like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a podcast, and you know, I would love for you to be the first guest up there, and blah 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 blah. For me, it was something light, and I always try to engage with as many people as I possibly can. If you hit me in my DMs, I'm usually pretty responsive. I may not respond like in 5 minutes, but I do usually respond and engage back, because I understand that a lot of other beings put themselves up so high that they don't feel the need to respond back to everyone, especially if they somebody who only got 100 followers, 200 followers, 1,000 followers, you know, anywhere between those numbers. But I accepted the test and the challenge, right? I accepted the test and the challenge. The only reason why I accepted it is because they saying like, hey, you're pretty knowledgeable, I want you to come up here, I'm a podcast, I want to ask you some questions, blah, 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 blah. And as the live stream gets started, I think I may have been asked about one question, maybe, but the rest of it was extremely antagonizing. It was extremely combative. It was extremely unproductive, you know? It's like, but for me, I knew that it was a test that I had to pass, because if I'm gonna be in this realm and doing more of this, then I have to be able to engage and master my energy under all kinds of circumstances. Like I told y'all before, like I was doing the court system shit, solo dolo fighting for my minute, you know what I mean? And they wanted to do worse, but because I am intelligent and I do have awareness, they wasn't able to completely remove me from my daughter, you know what I mean? Like y'all, like I got brothers and siblings who not even fighting for theirs because they're too fearful to even put themselves in that position. So like, you have to know what someone's been through or be able to understand something of what they've been through to a certain degree. You know what I mean? I could look at somebody and I don't have to know that, oh, okay, well, they got both parents in their family, they got this, they got that, or this one I could tell been through some. When I tap in with people, I always tap in with the spirit. That's why people always get like extremely excited that I can see who they are on the inside, and other beings get really scared because they're used to being able to hide. But anyways, back to the little short story. I go on the little live stream with the person or whatever, right? And some of the tribe was actually tapping in, which salute to everybody that was tapping in, you know. That was my first time living on Instagram. I wasn't sure how that process even worked. But the conversation literally started to just spiral. It just spiraled. It spiraled. She started off by opening saying that some people think I'm a witch. I didn't use those words, but it's already being placed on the table as soon as we start engaging. From there, it basically was setting the blueprint of the sorcery that was about to be worked. And I say that because you can't be no old ass person still not knowing how to shut the fuck up and cutting people off when communicating. You still don't know how to respond to questions. Your communication and your answers you're giving is very confusing and chaotic. I'm a very clear being in my intentions. Either I rock with you or I don't rock with you. You know what I mean? I can agree to disagree. I deal with a lot of this all the time on a regular basis, you know? So that was already a red flag. But before we got to that red flag, we had scheduled something like 2 weeks prior, or a couple weeks prior, or maybe a month maybe at the most. And I didn't make it to that live stream because she was late. She told me a time, I was ready. She was like 10 to 20 minutes behind time. I got real life to deal with. So when I made that time, I was expecting her to be on time because she was asking me to pull up on her little thing as a guest, and she wasn't ready. I wasn't going to sit around and wait. So I didn't do that. That was one red flag. So when I gave it a second chance and she starts off with, some people say I'm a witch. And then she went from witchery to a little bit of talking to astrology. Y'all know I've been, some of y'all, most of y'all, not everybody, because I know it's a lot of new members over here, and new members definitely never go backwards to tap into any other content to actually get a deeper perspective about the being that they're watching and listening to. Like, I got a whole podcast, Godcast, where I'm engaging with other beings in real lifetime. You know what I mean? And it kind of transitioned, but as these things was happening, I knew this was a test. I knew it was a test. And when I had passed the test, I knew I had passed the test, right? And I'll get to that part, because right now I'm just trying to get the blueprint laid out. Because I'm always giving chances and opportunities, as I really don't have to open the door. I could do what I do and keep it moving, you know. And we got to know the late response, 10 to 20 minutes. We ducked it. Came back around the second time. First thing they mentioned is, being, some people say I'm witchy. Fourth thing that was transpiring was they mentioned astrology. And they said they're a Libra. So I'm a Libra. In my mind, I responded right away. You know, like, damn, I'm a Libra. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they say. I don't believe in these things, but I understand the relevancy that it can have if everything was vibrating at its highest frequency. So I was getting some clarification about her belief system, and it was this whole runaround. It was like she started running dog laps around me. So I was being as clear as possible. I said, how much do you believe in astrology? Oh, yeah, I don't believe in it. I just acknowledge it, blah, 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 blah. But you just clearly made a statement that you decided to put out there. Yeah, I'm a Libra and blah, 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 blah. And I live in my head and start saying some other shit. And I'm like, damn, why all crazy people say they live in their head? We all live in our inner space. How do you watch me and watch a lot of people in this space and you still use witchery statements? Even if you wanted to put a different connotation on it, you could have been more clear, because I literally reiterated and was like, on a percentage scale, how much, 0 to 100%, how much do you believe in astrology? Because you just acknowledged it and threw it on the table when I didn't mention it or say anything about it, and I was trying to go somewhere when I had asked that question. And she just kept juking around saying she didn't believe in it. And then the whole thing just kind of started spiraling. And then she started saying something like, did I make you mad? Or some shit like that. And I was like, I don't know you for me to be mad. Like, it's my first real time engaging with you. Like, I was going out my way off the strength. And it's like, you're constantly cutting me off when I'm talking, which the universe knows I do not like. So that's how I knew this was a huge test. She kept cutting me off. It's not like it was somebody who was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 9. This person, she probably had to be like every bit of 45 to 50. You know what I mean? And for you to live this long and still not know how to shut the fuck up, my head was getting ready to explode. But I was just warm and smiling to myself in the inside, because I'm like, I knew as soon as she started twisting around, we didn't even make it 5 minutes in, and it was like, universe is testing right now. So then I just literally, it was like I'm in class. I just sat down and I just put my head down at the paper, and I took my pen and pencil, and I was just really focused. I was really focused. So I'm able to make light of it. But then they started doing the projecting thing, where it was like, are you... she didn't say like, are you mad? She started saying something like, did I offend you, or did I offend you, or something like that. Like, it was like she watched me all this time, like anybody could do, reached out. I decided to engage with her on her live stream so everybody could tap in, and she was trying to work her sorcery. And it was like, while you're trying to project this, other people are seeing that you are twisting things around. You haven't been answering any questions. You've been juking around all over the place. This was just one of the most recent tests that I experienced. That's why I'm just giving this one like per se right now. But it's all kind of other tests that we get thrown our way. Long story short, I literally took my eraser, erased all my answers on the paper, right? And I'm communicating, talking to her, you know, via video chat on Instagram, and I'm like, so we aren't going anywhere with this part of the subject or conversation. Do you have any other questions or any other statements that you would like to make, ask, or throw out there on the table? And she was basically like, no, because of something, the way something was. I don't know exactly what she was saying. I know that she gave a response as in, if I invite somebody on my podcast, my Godcast, because I have one, I am going to be extremely clear in my intentions. I'm going to be, you can go watch my shit. I don't have to break all this down and explain it. I got 69 episodes of the TrakWolf Godcast on my playlist, doing these exact same things, being extremely clear, being extremely respectful. This person had me on their platform, working their witchery and their sorcery. And after I got off the phone, after the video chat, because I just banged it. Once she was giving me this weird energy, like I'm trying to skip past all her other witchery and sorcery, because I know that I'm on a live stream. I see the tactics that she's using, and I know I got other tribe members watching because I see them engaging in the comments. Her tribe, she don't have a tribe, so the tribe that follows, that's on Instagram, they was kind of tapping in, and I see them even getting confused in the comments. The statement that she ended up making was like, it was weird, it's off balance, so I end up just, boom, I just hung it up. Ain't no peace and love, ain't no we out. I just hung it up and got off of there. As soon as I got off, she knew she was dead wrong, because I got a, it was, you know what females do when they get to that space. And y'all got some crazy men who do that too, just will keep messaging you a bunch of messages, because I wasn't even gonna block her. I just kept thinking, oh, this regular witchery, sorcery, I passed the test. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a prepared, almost a pop-up, but then it was like, one of them tests, it was kind of like my first basketball game, you know what I mean? Because we had an audience. There was people that was popping in, popping out, and people that was sitting there watching. So I made sure that I was going to pass my test, whether people was watching or not watching. Sent a bunch of messages from there. And until it got to like the 10th, 11th, or 12th one, it was a lot. I don't know. I didn't even read them. It kept dinging my phone. So that's the only reason why I knew. I just went through, and then I end up blocking her, because I'm like, you already knew that the thing went south already, and now you ping and dinging me with all of these things right here. This was pretty drawn out just now, but the whole point of this is to show that, and me sharing my experience, since I've been raising my vibration in the realm that I'm in, I don't operate the way I used to. I used to bang blood. I used to be running around here ratchet, crazy, but still aware of what's going on. Now I'm in a different space, and it's like, it's still being tested, put on the table, you know, either by my team that's putting the test there to make sure that I got myself all the way built solid, so that way I can help and heal more people, and I can fight more battles for myself, my daughter, and for the ones that I do care about, and that's riding with Source, you know. But I also know that the other team is working their stuff as well too, you know what I mean? I wouldn't go over to a basketball channel, and I hadn't played basketball. I just started playing basketball, and now I'm over here creating witchery and sorcery on their channel. This is not how I process things. So I know when you moving with Source, this isn't how you operate or you view life in this kind of way. So for me, I understood that all tests, you know, all of them, you don't have to get an A on your test to pass it. I know some people feel like, oh, I didn't get an A+, I gotta redo it all over again. Nah, there is no such thing as perfection. Long as you get a grade that you feel and that you know, you can still move on to the next chapter and journey. You know, if you got straight C's in a grade, you still move up to the next level. You know, that's average. B's and A's is above average. Anything below a C is below average. We have to be mindful of these things. Like, it took us a lot to get to these spaces where we're in today. And most people just see you as the being on the outside. They only see the vessel. That's really what they're acknowledging. And then when they start using all these other tactics, you just have to, what I always do is I just take that time to work on my energy and motion. You know what I mean? My processor is extremely fast. I have an extremely fast processor. I always relate this to computers, you know what I mean? Because they kind of correlate, go hand in hand. And my processor is extremely fast. When I start experiencing something, or I know one of these tests is about to pop up, or I'm actually in the middle of a test, because the hardest part about the test is your energy is in motion when you're being tested. You know, you might be tested when you're sad. You're going to be tested when you're mad. You're going to be tested when you're happy and joyful. You know, you're going to be experiencing all of these different kind of emotions, not all at one time, but you may be in one of them at that time when the test is happening. Take all these things into consideration, you know what I mean? Constantly be mindful, be aware, and appreciate all the divine femme that do tap in that's not with the witchery and sorcery. You know what I mean? I know that everybody isn't on that time. Everybody that's been tapped in, you already know. Everything is on a percentage scale over here. I say this on a daily basis. Everything is on a percentage scale. Everything. So I would never put, I mentioned before, I got aunts who've been great spiritual and physical role models for me as far as divine femme, you know. I see some of the younger generation that's in my family that I have access to. That's new divine femme. You know what I mean? So I'm not dumb enough to just throw everybody into the same box. But I'm aware enough to see that if you using that weird playbook, I'm putting your ass over there. If you got a problem with it, all you gotta do is see what's up or keep it moving. You know what I mean? That's all you gotta do. We warriors over here. This isn't one of these little walk in the parks, even though I'm in the park. I am one of the creators, warriors. I am a fighter, a spiritual fighter, a physical fighter and warrior, a very peaceful and humble being, a loving being. All of these things wrapped up in one package. You know what I mean? So just because the ops got some scary players over there, don't mean the creator ain't got some right here too. And with me saying that, it just reminded me of some of the ratchet music we used to listen to, and I used to listen to, and how everybody always hanging with the shooter, or they gonna call the shooter or go get the shooter. You never heard most of the artists say, I always wondered about that. They always put it on the people that's around them. For me, growing up, even listening to that, I was the one who's gonna go do it myself. That was me. You know what I mean? Anytime I got into fights and altercations and all that stuff, I didn't go call people. I handled my situation right then and there. So even listening to videos, or listening to songs and watching videos and seeing stuff where some of the ratchet artists, you know, talk about how they got all the shooters around them, they could call up a shooter and get your head bust and all that shit. They showing how weak they are. They're failing all their tests, but they're passing all their tests on the other side because they're putting on a false ideology. You know what I mean? You should be able to stand solid as a man and handle your own. You should be able to handle your own. Why would I have to go call somebody unless it's like 20, 30 people? And for me, even when I process 20, 30 people, if it was 20, 30 that was trying to get at me, the way my spirit is set up with the creator, I still wouldn't call people. I would be like, I'm gonna get these motherfuckers individually. I will get them individually. Y'all won that one right there. I haven't had no situations like that. I'm just saying in general, this is how this processor works over here. We warriors. We're gonna continue to fight this battle. You know what I mean? But I definitely have been running it up. You're gonna get more tests. You're gonna have to pass these tests. You don't have to get an A on these tests. You just have to make sure you're getting average or above average on these tests. You know what I mean? So don't be surprised if they're coming back to back to back to back to back to back to back. That means that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. When your tests are coming back to back to back to back to back, and you've been moving with source, this is how you know that you're riding with the right team. Because it's always going to be some witchery and sorcery outside of your control that's happening to you, that's forcing you to make sure that you are super aware of your responses and reactions. We're not in charge of what happens outside of us, but we are in charge of how we respond and react. You know what I mean? But I ain't going to keep running it up. Pass these tests. You know what I mean? And to all other ones that's confusing the process, I was the one who been started saying words are spells and spells are real. And you should tap into more knowledge and information if you're getting misconstrued by a couple words, because this is going to continue. And I'm not stopping. I'm not slowing down. It's being little things that's being put in place that's causing me to take my steps a little bit wiser, to be a little bit more careful, you know what I mean? But we out here battling till they send me up onto my next journey. So what we doing? We're gonna continue to fight this thing, you know what I mean? Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.